Welcome to Boxing During Dinner. We're back here at RANDAZZO'S restaurant here in Coral Gables, Florida. Finally back, and Mark's in the house, so you might see him walking around back here in a little bit. He'll tell us one of his funny stories.
He's always got a few.
He has plenty of them.
Tonight's Mark Randazzo-ism is to check out Benny Briscoe knockouts on YouTube.
You guys should check it out too. There's a boxing show.
Hey,
check out Benny Briscoe
too.
knockouts. He actually showed it to me before you got here.
Yeah.
Good stuff. But before I get to this whole mystery that is Lucas Matthysse being a big favorite over Lamont Peterson, I want to talk about the hot topic in boxing is still, after a couple of weeks out, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Canelo Alvarez. Will it happen? Will it not? The fight's gaining some steam, but I still have my reservations about the fight. David, what do you think about a possible Mayweather-Canelo fight? Is September too soon?
It's not too soon because I think both of these guys are going to be ready to fight in September. But I think it's too soon in a 6-fight contract to make the biggest fight in boxing happen at that point in time. You and I differ on something here, and I happen to think that Floyd Mayweather is going to keep the September date and that Canelo is going to take on Miguel Cotto in October. But you seem to have a different opinion on that.
I have a completely different opinion on it. As I believe I mentioned it last week. I don't know if it was on the show or off the record when we were talking with Kieran Mulvaney, the great Kieran Mulvaney, Sir Kieran Mulvaney, who hangs out with Liev Schreiber.
Yeah, the voice of HBO Sports.
But no, David, I think it's gonna beat Canelo and Miguel Cotto. I've been saying this for a while. I think it's a fight that makes all the sense in the world. It's a great. First of all, it's a great fight for the boxing fans.
Sure.
Yeah, Mexico versus Puerto Rico on Mexican Independence Weekend. Two guys who are not afraid to go at it.
Yeah.
It's an amazing fight. I mean, for people that like boxing, that like two guys that do not give a crap, this is the fight you want to watch.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be the fight. There's talk about Miguel Cotto, your favorite fighter in the world, training with Freddie Roach. He already dumped Pedro Diaz. And I think Mayweather, I may be wrong. I have been wrong. I picked Nonito Donaire, and everybody still reminds me of this.
And Amir Khan. Let's not forget that.
And I said Amir Khan was a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter before he fought Lamont Peterson, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But David, I have a huge feeling Floyd Mayweather Jr. either the week after Cotto Canelo or the week before, fight on open television on CBS. It'll be a mega blockbuster of a deal. Huge sponsors, prime time, against a fighter to be named later. We don't know who, but that's what I'm going with, man. I can't see September 14th without Cotto fighting Canelo.
I just think that Floyd Mayweather is that's probably the only scenario, because Floyd Mayweather will never allow Canelo to take what's considered, I just got something in my eye. That's really weird, right on camera. I don't know what it is, but it's tearing up. This boxing's so hard to talk about. I don't see a scenario in the world where Mayweather allows Canelo to take his pay-per-view date unless he's doing something like that where he has a mainstream, majorly televised event, a boxing event, which would be unprecedented in the modern boxing area. It just hasn't happened. What's interesting here is that Canelo has a backup opponent should Mayweather-Canelo not happen, and we know it's not going to.
Right.
He has Miguel Cotto. Floyd Mayweather has, maybe the winner of the Devin Alexander fight this weekend, which is going to be Devin Alexander. There's just not something that's firmly lined up. So I think that's, a possible scenario. But I think that what's really exciting to talk about here is the thing that you just spoke on, and that's the Canelo versus Cotto fight. I still think that Canelo at this point in his career and Cotto at his point in his, I can't believe I'm saying it for a second time, but I think that Canelo would win this fight. But I continue to be reminded that styles do make fights. I'm continued to be reminded that Miguel Cotto was counted out after his loss against Margarito, after his loss against Manny Pacquiao. And he came back and beat Margarito. He came back and put in a hell of a performance against Floyd Mayweather. He looked befuddled at times against Austin Trout, and could it have been an off night? Could it have been the wrong opponent? There's any number of things.
Austin Trout's tough.
Austin Trout's a hell of an opponent. Miguel Cotto has not shown necessarily that he's incapable of fighting at this level anymore. He's not ever going to be the guy who's Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao, and he's proven that, even at his peak, to not be able to fight at that level. But is Canelo the guy who's not there yet? And is he meeting him at the right time? Are they thinking that Cotto's more shot than he actually is, and Canelo's biting off more than he can chew? I still think Canelo's farther along at this point, but holy hell, that's going to be a war.
No, it's an attractive fight, and like you said, I don't think Miguel Cotto's done by any stretch of the imagination. You know, he lost to Austin Trout. Austin Trout's a good fighter. A lot of people think Austin Trout beat Canelo. You know,
I do.
I had Canelo up by a point, but it was a close fight. It could have gone either way. And Miguel Cotto, sure, he lost to Austin Trout, but Cotto's a pressure fighter. Like you said, he's a guy that keeps getting counted out, keeps coming back. What will Freddie Roach bring to the table? You know, you don't know this, but what I do know
I don't know this. I don't know this. This is we're being unveiled a secret right now.
I don't know. I don't know what'll happen. But what we do know is that it'll be a huge fight. Mexico Puerto Rico hasn't had this rivalry in a long time.
Sure.
Because yeah, Mikey Garcia is fighting Juan Manuel Lopez. I think Mikey Garcia puts Juan Manuel Lopez in the hospital and injures him, possibly permanently. And we'll talk about it as we get closer to the fight. If I could object to a fight, it would be that one. But we'll talk about that at another time. But Canelo Cotto, absolutely 100% endorse this fight. I hope it happens on September 14th. I hope I'm there to see it. And like you said, Mayweather, Devin Alexander on CBS makes all the sense in the world. Mayweather's a smart businessman.
Sure.
Tyson Fury against Steve Cunningham did fabulous numbers on NBC.
When the A side of that fight was not even an American fighter.
Right, and it was what, like at 4 or 5 p.m.?
Yeah.
Imagine Floyd Mayweather at 9 p.m. on a Saturday night on CBS.
I know. Is there reason to really believe, you know, from any rumors that are going underground that that's actually going to happen? Well, not necessarily. But you also find it hard to believe that Showtime, with its agreement with CBS, would put together a 6-fight contract with Floyd Mayweather and not at some point try to do that.
Right, and I was going to mention, for those that were already saying, bro, like Armando's stupid, the 6-fight deals with Showtime, not CBS. You know, David just explained it. They do have a partnership, and this is network television, and it hasn't been done in a long time. And you know, Floyd Mayweather likes being the pioneer. He likes being the first at this, the first at that, the pay-per-view king. Today, you know, it was revealed he's the highest paid athlete
by a lot.
Not music to the ears of those that say boxing is dead. You know, I mean, boxing is not dead. David, I love UFC. I love mixed martial arts. A lot of boxing fans don't. David doesn't. But MMA fighters make a very small fraction of what Floyd Mayweather makes in a fight.
John Bones Jones and who's the other one?
Cain Velasquez and Anderson
those heavyweights.
Silva.
Yeah, Anderson Silva. What those guys make, they're north of $1 million sometimes, and rarely.
But David, we got to get to the fight that's going on this weekend.
Well, there's two.
But the one that I'm really befuddled
is
about
Lee Purdy versus Devin Alexander.
Yeah, right. The one that how could Lee Purdy not be a favorite? Lamont Peterson is a pretty significant underdog against Lucas Matthysse. I'm of the opinion that boxers beat punchers. Oh, and here's our food.
Here we are. Yeah, right here.
And food
We're gonna interrupt
beats,
the show real quick. So we've got ourselves.
beats,
I'm back on my
talk.
healthy kick. We got some spinach right here, grilled with grilled chicken as well. A little bit of lemon.
Sure, you
Go ahead and set it right down.
here.
We got the chicken, rigatoni, and pasta, Randazzo style, and I got a side of broccoli too because I'm really kicking on this healthy thing. I'm going to the Keys for Memorial Day weekend in 2 weeks. I want to get this all ready again. You know.
David's always ready, dude.
I'm trying.
Always ready. But as I was saying, David, Lamont Peterson, I don't understand how he's a huge underdog against Matthysse. Matthysse is a one-trick pony. He's a very hard puncher, and he's one of the toughest fighters in the world. But he's a one-trick pony. He knocks out people cold, like he did against Mike Dallas. But Mike Dallas is Mike Dallas.
Yeah.
You know. I don't get it. I think Lamont Peterson is going to win this fight. Sure, he might get caught by a Matthysse right or a left, and it's all over. It could happen just as quick as that. But how could Lamont Peterson, who looked fabulous against Kendall Holt, who beat Amir Khan, who's a good all-around boxer, be an underdog against Lucas Matthysse? To me, it does not make any sense.
It'd be one thing if he was an underdog by like 2-1. Even that I think would be outrageous. But from all accounts, he's about a 4-1 underdog according to a lot of boxing sites.
I saw 5-2 today.
Where, so it's shifting a little bit. The only thing I can think of, and it's terrible to even say this out loud, but Lucas Matthysse is now an Al Haymon fighter. Is there something happening, underneath that makes people think that this is going to be scored in his favor? But here's something else to consider. Lamont Peterson lost, granted, a one-sided fight to Timothy Bradley, but it's not like he didn't put up a fight. But also underrated is the fact that, yes, Lucas Matthysse is a big puncher, and we know that. But at the same token, Lamont Peterson has walked through the best of Amir Khan and Victor Ortiz and a bunch of other big punchers in the division, and he has one of the most solid chins in the entire sport. Absolutely. He was dropped against Victor Ortiz, but rose off the canvas and fought all the way back to a draw. He's the better boxer. He's got a great body attack.
And you mentioned him losing to Tim Bradley. Who's Tim Bradley lost to?
No
officially?
One.
No one.
No one.
And he's the welterweight champion of the world by all accounts. I just don't get it. Maybe Matthysse is a beast. Let's just say it flat out.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of Matthysse.
He's a monster. I love to watch him fight. A lot of people think he beat Zab Judah, and he's gotten screwed in a couple of other fights. But this guy, when good boxers fight punchers, I always think the boxer gets the benefit of the doubt. I don't know what the odds makers know that we don't. But I'm shocked to say the least. Like I said, it's not to say Matthysse may not win this fight, because he very well might. It's a very interesting fight. One punch could end it all. We've seen, I don't think it's going to be like Randall Bailey against Mike Jones, but we've seen what a power puncher could do with just one shot.
Sure.
But like you said, man, it's Lamont Peterson is a tough guy. I just don't get it.
That's not to take away anything, and I'm glad that you said it. It's not to take anything away from Lucas Matthysse. In the same way that Timothy Bradley beat Manny Pacquiao but really lost to him, he became a huge victim of that because people were upset with him somehow for a decision that went in his favor. Well, the same way people are, like us right now, are kind of holding it against Matthysse almost, that he's such a prohibitive favorite to win this fight. That's not a knock on Matthysse. We love I think he actually is an underrated boxer, hell of a puncher. But I think
good.
That Lamont Peterson is a better fighter than he is.
Right, but this is one of those fights that you analyze and you could maybe put it as a toss-up. A lot of people think Matthysse is going to win. A lot of people think Peterson's going to win in the boxing circles. A lot of smart people out there, I know Pierre Bernardo, who's a huge fan of the show, good guy, good boxing guy. And he thinks, he agrees with us that he believes Peterson's going to win the fight. I just expected this to be a 2-1, maybe even less than a 2-1, even money going into this fight.
I could make my decision on this fight by flipping a coin.
David, I almost stopped for a second and checked if I was maybe
looking at the wrong fight or something,
or Anthony Peterson was fighting. I didn't get it.
Let's talk quickly before we get out of here because we just got that means to wrap it up. Devin Alexander fighting a replacement opponent against Lee Purdy. Wins. I think Devin Alexander wins this fight convincingly.
He's a good fighter. He gets a lot of he gets a lot of grief for those dirty fights against Tim Bradley, and he's a bit of a boring fighter at times. But Devin Alexander's a good boxer.
When he fights B-class opponents, he beats the hell out of them. When he steps up in class is when he looks ordinary. Lee Purdy is a B, maybe C-level fighter, and I think Devin Alexander is going to look great, which is actually going to raise the stake of him when he fights Floyd Mayweather in September or October. That's my take.
So that's it for Boxing During Dinner. We got a lot of food to take care of, but enjoy this weekend with boxing. Boxing is not dead. Not only does Floyd Mayweather make more money than everybody else, but we got this full menu for the rest of the year that has everybody excited. Malignaggi Broner, we'll talk more about that as it comes close.
I'm going to that fight.
Mikey Garcia, Juan Manuel Lopez, we'll talk a bit about that as well. And lots more, man. I'm really excited about this year in boxing.
2013 is the year of boxing.
And Abner Mares is a top 5 pound for pound. Wait, is it too soon to say?
We'll talk about that next week.